Good evening, Board of Directors. We are now live. Over to you, Chair Harrington.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 17th, 2026 Clean Water Services Board of Directors meeting. Clerk Hodges, could you do us the formal honors, please?
Absolutely. The Board of Directors for Clean Water Services is meeting this regular session on March 17th, 2026. Director Snyder? Here. Director Treese?
Here.
Director Fye?
Present.
Director Willie? Here. Chair Harrington?
Here. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public communication. This is an opportunity for members of our community to come and address the Clean Water Services Board of Directors for up to 3 minutes an individual. Clerk Hodges, do we have anyone who wishes to do so?
Did have one sign up ahead of time, Chair Harrington. Dale Feek. Mr. Feek?
Welcome, Mr. Feek. Just start when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, Dale Feek, and Commissioners. Today is, as you know, St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing green. In the spirit of all that, I have a riddle for you. Are you ready? Why should you never iron a 4-leaf clover? You don't want to press your luck. Whatever. So I'm just about pressed my luck when I decided what I was going to share with you today, because I had a 5-page document and it might be entered into the minutes. But then the way I have the document, it's written over because this is the director's report when I attended the Environmental Quality Commission. And I used this when I made my public comment to them, and I only have a marked up copy. And so I decided that wasn't very professional. So I'm not going to give you my marked up copy. I might give it to you later. But it has implications for you as commissioners and also for everybody in Oregon and in the United States. The director, who she usually writes this report a day or 2 days before the meeting, and then she gives an oral report about it. And I was kind of surprised because this time she doesn't address a lot of the rules and regulations that they address as the agency overseeing the Department of Environmental Quality. But she addressed mainly EPA and what's happening at the national level, how it impacts Oregon. So EPA proposed to rescind mercury air toxic standards. Not good. And then they talk about what DEQ and the Environmental Quality Commission is going to try to do to address that. Then they also address not only the toxic mercury, but the tidal waters of the United States. EPA proposed a new rule redefining waters of the United States. That's very important. It has implications for clean water services and everybody else that deals with water. And most of the time, the lobbyists for clean water services attend these meetings. I don't think she was there at this meeting. What's her name? Tracy, right? Yeah, Tracy. I don't think she was there at this meeting last week. And the other one is titled EPA proposed a narrow scope of Clean Water Act Section 104, defining the water quality certification regulations. And the director, Lynn Feldman, wrote, Oregon U.S. Senators and U.S. Representatives, a joint comment letter developed by several states, attorney generals, including Oregon, was submitted during the public comment period. So our Environmental Quality Commission and DEQ are addressing some of the terrible things that are happening at the national level based upon our current regime. I also gave one more book away on tyranny, Point of Lessons from the 20th Century, which you all have. And the new commissioner was her first meeting last week, and she now got a book. She has a book. So thank you for listening, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you, Mr. Feek.
Is there anyone else in the auditorium that wishes to provide any public comment for up to 3 minutes on any clean water services topic? Please raise your hand. Not seeing any hands. Is there anyone online who wishes to provide any public comment for up to 3 minutes? Please utilize the raise hand function. Not seeing any hands, Chair Harrington.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to board agenda item discussion. Are there any questions or comments on today's agenda?
No.
All righty, I think this is the time when I'm supposed to announce upcoming meetings. We will not be having any Clean Water Services Board of Directors meetings next week during school spring break. On Tuesday, April 14th, we will convene at 9 a.m. as the Clean Water Services Board of Directors for a business meeting like this. Then soon thereafter, we will adjourn to a Clean Water Services Board of Directors work session. Excuse me, I misspoke. We'll have the Washington County Board of Commissioners meeting at 10 a.m. according to this. And then we'll have the Clean Water Services Board of Directors work session. That's what this says. No, I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to the. We haven't even done the consent agenda.
Okay,
We're right up here at
okay.
topic C. No, it's quite all right. You were trying to make sure I did it in the right order. Then on Tuesday, April 28th, we only have, like tonight, Clean Water Services Board of Directors business meeting starting at 5:30 p.m. Next, we'll move on to item D, which is the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes from the February 24th Clean Water Services Board meeting and 2 contracts, followed by an item from CWS HR. What are the wishes of the commission regarding this 4-item consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, directors. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next, we'll move on to the Clean Water Services action item. We have one item here to approve the cooperative management intergovernmental agreement between Washington County Clean Water Services and the Washington County Urban Road Maintenance District. And I'll turn it over to the staff experts.
Good evening, Chair and board members. My name is Joe Gall. I'm the Chief Utility Relations Officer for Clean Water Services. I'm going to let my fellow staff member from CWS introduce yourself, and then our guests from the county. And then we'll get to our presentation.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you, Chair and Directors. My name is Jamie Hughes. I'm the Compliance Operations Manager in the Regulatory Affairs Department at Clean Water Services. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jessica.
Good evening, Chair and Directors. I'm Jessica Pells with Washington County Land Use and Transportation.
And Stephen Roberts with Land Use and Transportation as well.
Thank you. So we're going to go through a brief presentation about an effort that's been about a 2-year effort, as you know, to get to tonight. A lot of time and effort and conversation has been taking place between county staff and CWS staff to update our fairly outdated IGA, which you'll learn more details tonight. The 2 staff members from our 2 organizations that really led this effort are going to be the ones providing the presentation tonight. We were hoping Bob Baumgartner was going to be here, but he's now retired. But I wanted to acknowledge and invite Bob because this effort started under Bob's leadership, and he kind of set the tone in terms of the cooperation between our 2 agencies, and he's very happy and couldn't be here. Hopefully he's celebrating St. Patrick's Day somewhere. So with that, I will turn it over to, are you going to start?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we will kick it off. All right, so we'll start off by talking today about the IGA, give a little bit of background and an overview. We'll talk about the process, the 2-year process that the county worked with CWS to update the IGA, process improvements that came out of that, and outcomes. So why update the IGA? Why do that now? Clean Water Services, Washington County, and the Urban Road Maintenance District, URMD, first entered into an IGA in 1990. The IGA details all the cooperative management of the sanitary sewer and stormwater facilities within Clean Water Services service area. IGA updates were then made in 1994, 1995, and 2005. So it's been quite a while since the IGA was last updated. That 2005 IGA automatically renewed for 5-year terms up to 25 years. We were approaching that 25-year time period. And also, Clean Water Services National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit required us to update all of our IGAs with the co-implementers by November of 2026. So the update was timely in more than one way. Differences in the IGA. We really wanted to focus on partnership and coordination with this IGA. We started out with lots of work group meetings. We'll talk about that later on. But really, that was the key focus, building trust between our agencies. Before we really got into discussing the technical details of the IGA, we wanted to start off with that framework and that baseline. The IGA carries forward many of the operating provisions from the 2005 IGA, but there's a lot more clarity and detail around specific processes. Our roles and responsibilities are outlined more clearly, regulatory requirements, especially as Clean Water Services has that oversight authority for the NPDES permit, but the county is involved in implementing pieces of that. Coordination, there's a whole section on coordination meetings that we'll have, not just to review the IGA, but around specific pieces or programs that we need to coordinate around. And then permitting as well, and roles and responsibilities for different permitting processes are more clearly outlined in the IGA. This also includes a process flow chart for capital project coordination that Jessica will talk about later on in the presentation. We included work group photos in this presentation, our IGA update process. There's a couple of photos there. So our work group meetings kicked off in March of 2024. So, yep, 2 years ago now. We had a 30-person work group roster, 18 in-person meetings. Those were with that 30-person group. That doesn't count some of the smaller meetings that occurred with focused smaller work groups as well on other topics. And you can see here in the slide, there were many different divisions and work groups, both at the county and at Clean Water Services, that were part of the IGA update process. And again, our group intention from the get-go was to set the focus on cooperation and collaboration. We started out with several meetings to just air all of the what we called grievances, or some of the issues and concerns that had been coming up with the 2005 IGA. What were some of the challenges? What were areas we could work on to improve in this process? And from those couple of first meetings, we created a long list of discussion topics to work through over that 2-year period. And that was a very effective way to start out. Here's another photo, 20 of the 30 folks that were part of these conversations. So again, all across Clean Water Services and the county, different divisions represented there. Co-creating the IGA really fostered that closer peer-to-peer relationship across our agencies. We not only had work group meetings, but we had social events after work, happy hours, just to get to know each other better and again, build that trust and made it better and easier when we're talking about those more complicated technical issues. We also just talked a lot about our roles as developer and regulator, because we both have different roles in that regard on both sides. And also got a better understanding of each other's processes, our workflows, information needs, and then a common vocabulary. As you know, there are always different terms that are used, and there took some discussion around what do terms mean to different groups, and there's a whole definition section in the IGA now that we talked about at length. And now I'll turn it over to Jessica to talk about the actual flow chart and some of the outcomes.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, one thing that was interesting about the definitions is how many definitions around stormwater and surface water, and I don't even know that Clean Water Services has, and we were just like, wow, it was extensive. It was a big learning process for us. So yeah, it was really interesting. So one of the outcomes that this work really prompted was really drilling down on what is the county capital project process. And the reason for this was, in the past, we had been coming together and maybe asking for Clean Water Services input on stormwater facilities for our capital projects, but too late in the process, or we were getting input too late, or requests for changes too late. So it was causing issues with our contracts and our projects and the timing and delay. And then we realized, working through this, that we didn't have a common understanding of the steps of a capital project and when we needed that input. And sort of as an aside, this is something that also came up through our MISTIP audit when we did that Major Streets Transportation Improvement Program audit internally, but about just more transparency and clarity about what our processes are around capital projects. So this has been a really good outcome, and this is something that we'll include in our MISTIP program guide as we work on that through 2026. So anyway, for this process, this was really, really helpful to spell out that there are the 5 stages, and then through discussion at the work group, we added the stage 0 because there was this idea of, well, what if we started talking really early on when we first identify an idea for a project, but it still could be a couple of years even from design. And then we can really work together on figuring out some maybe regional facilities that we could collaborate on that could maybe help get stormwater credits for our capital projects that have difficulties meeting stormwater facility needs. The related thing that came along with this was this idea of stage gates, and this came out of our capital project group, where each stage identified in that flow chart would have these questions that needed to be answered, the information needed for this stage, and the idea is that each stage has the gate, and that means that both agencies agree that the questions have been answered, the tasks have been done, so everything has to be checked, and then we agree like, okay, yes, we can close this stage and move to the next stage in the process. So this was a really helpful framework for our projects, and this is something that we are just now implementing, and we will continue to be implementing on our side as well as our projects in coordination with Clean Water Services.
And one of the benefits of this is that it keeps from kicking important cans too far down the road. I think that's something that can be easy to do, is like we've got a particular sticking point, but we'll just sort of keep progressing the project and hope we work that out later. But this really kind of puts us in a position of having to answer those difficult questions early in the process and make sure that we then move forward based on those decisions.
Another thing that came out of our process together was identification of additional work that needed to be done outside of the scope of the IGA update itself. So we realized more work needed to be done on permitting process improvements, and that goes on both sides. Our partnership projects, and that is what I'm talking about, maybe those larger regional facilities that could be beneficial to both agencies. And for the county side, we're looking at large facilities where we could get some credits. We could do some credit banking to apply to our projects that are difficult to serve. And then transportation capital project stormwater standards. For that, we're talking about standards for addressing right-of-way within, or addressing stormwater within the right-of-way, which is sometimes constrained and difficult to do. So we want to work together and have a set of standards or a framework or best practices to address that. And that work is starting this week. Our capital projects group reached out to Clean Water Services to set some dates and times to kick off that work. So it's proceeding, and I'm happy to see that. So the outcomes of the IGA work, it's, as Jamie said, focused on collaborative management and coordination, much greater detail about roles and responsibilities. It includes the framework for implementable process improvements. So we're really excited about that part. And better mutual understanding of agencies and strengthened working relationships. We know we can work together now really well. We can always approach each other with these difficult issues and conversations. And then some benefits, I think this is to both agencies, specifically to the county, saves time and money on capital projects, because through increased coordination, information gathering, and decision-making, we're not getting stalled or delayed late in the process, causing changes and change orders with our contractors and things like that. So I think this is be a really beneficial. It's also going to streamline operations between agencies because of these clear expectations and procedures. And then because of the collaboration section written into the IGA, it ensures that continued close collaboration between the agencies to address issues and continue these process improvements over time. We also included a dispute resolution process in the IGA, a lot stronger and more steps, so it can work up through the process of different levels to get those disputes handled. And I'll turn it back over to Jamie for the requested action.
Yeah, so our requested action of the board today is to approve this cooperative management IGA between Clean Water Services, Washington County, and the Urban Road Maintenance District for a term of 5 years.
Board members, do you have any questions or comments?
Just a quick one. Is this renewable?
Yes.
So it's kind of an evergreen contract. It just keeps going and then is periodically, are you assigned a time to review so it doesn't go 20 more years?
Yeah, so the coordination section identifies an annual review of the IGA in its entirety to determine if there needs to be amendments or an overhaul.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, we had a robust discussion about this in work session, so I'm not going to ask a bunch of more questions or make comments, but well done. And we get to act on it 3 different times, right?
Yeah.
3 different roles,
Oh, yes, we do.
not just 2, 3.
I think, weren't we able to do the Washington County and URMD1
Together.
together? Yeah, so this is closing the loop, so to speak.
There were 3.
Yes. Yeah. Anyone else?
I don't have any questions, but job well done. And I was reflecting that one slide that had the pictures of everyone. It looked like Stephen Roberts' group was having way too much fun. And Jamie and Jess, you looked very serious in that picture. So kudos to you all. Looks like you all did the most of the work. Well,
We're saying order.
yeah, well done.
The work, yeah.
Just quick observations on my end and to provide levity to say, job well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I join my colleagues in the thanks. Incredible due diligence. And I don't actually think of this as an update at all. This is a major evolution. The 2 different agencies have come a long way since the original IGA and even the most recent update. So you've got a new model in place. Spirit of collaboration and cooperation, great new processes. Keep up the good work. So with that, I would ask for a motion to approve the cooperative management intergovernmental agreement between Clean Water Services, Washington County, and the Urban Road Maintenance District of Washington County.
Happy and proud to move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, everyone. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Would you like a photo for CWS purposes?
Yes.
Well,
Well, we already did one at the Board of Commissioners. Yeah.
I appreciate it. You have to get in. I think you should be. I think I should be able to angle correctly, but thank you. All right. Everybody say Clean Water Services. All right. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
One down.
Better be good, because maybe we'll check.
I know she will. She was probably already halfway down the stairs. Keep yourself.
Next, we move on to director announcements. Do you have anything?
No, Chair, no fresh announcements.
Okay.
this evening.
And how about the Board of Directors? Thank you to Director Willie for pointing out that I was a little premature in sharing the meeting calendar, so I will simply repeat what is listed in the packet. We'll have a pair of our meetings on Tuesday, April 14th, and then the Board of Directors business meeting for Clean Water Services starting at 5:30 p.m. on April 28th. Seeing no other board announcements or anything from management, I would ask for a motion to adjourn today's Clean Water Services Board of Directors meeting.
Move for adjournment.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raise. Thank you. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. We're hereby adjourned.